All right. I want to make sure everything is set. That's why I'm restarting it again. But I've started something I said in early the colonial eras. They were able to do some things, and at that time, the research and finding reveals that Nigerian first contact with cinema was in 1903, and it was the instance where the Hubert Macaulay, a foremost nationalist who invited Mr. Balboa, B-A-L-B-O-A, B-A-L-B-O-A, Balboa, and his company, who was then doing this exhibition tour. You remember I talked about silent films. So they were doing exhibition tour to Africa now, to the silent film on the West African coast to Nigeria. So the exhibition was an exhibition tour, and that's how in 1903 the film was shown. This film was shown at the Glover Memorial Hall, Lagos, in August, between August 12th to August 22nd that year. So the cinema, that was the first contact. And the earliest feature film made in Nigeria in 1926, and that was called Palava. It was produced by Godfrey Barkas. The film was also the first film ever to feature Nigerian actors in a speaking role. So it wasn't the indigenous film, but it was a film done by the foreigner. So it started like that. That the success of the Baobab venture paved the way for an influx of the European film exhibitors to Nigeria. And shortly after, the colonial government took interest and brought a lot of films. They brought a lot of films. They said, wow, these people like film production, distribution, exhibition. All this thing at this time was only restricted to Lagos. So by the time 1954, they begin to have what they call mobile cinema. They have a mobile cinema van at which about 3.5 million Nigerians at that time were able to be following it, and they were really following it. They're able to follow it, and a lot of people at that time. So they have to restrict everything to Lagos, where they compete with concert and drama shows, and the content of which the such movie were highly censored. Nobody want to do something. So gradually, it fan out to towns, immediate towns and all that, and Lagos gradually and beyond Lagos. So at the country was expanding, and the country was doing a lot of things. And because Nigeria is highly industrious, any Nigeria you see is an industrialized place, is an urbanized area. Gradually, they're establishing distribution centers and new areas. In no time, the branches and distribution of exhibition was almost everywhere in the country. So the colonial government did not fully practice on the film business until commencement of World War II, with the establishment of colonial film unit. That was the first thing, colonial film unit. I'm giving you this background. I will still go back and front, like I said. So the colonial film unit, they have a colonial film unit. The unit was charged with filmmaking for the colonies. An objective of such things were the objective of the films were first to show and convince the colonies that that they and the English are the common enemies in Germany. So they begin to use the drama to do that. So to this end, after the cut of all the film were made by the CFU, which is the Colonial Film Unit, were related second to it, and later they have something. And one of the things they had was that the second, to enhance communal development in the colonies, and the third, to show the outside world the excellent work being done in the colonies. So, and that is why at a particular time you need to watch Amazing Grace. So you can understand some of the things I'm talking about. So like I said, I'm going to go forth and back about it. So, and after that time, the CFU was the main producer of film in Colony, and was founded through the Colonial Development Welfare Act. Colonial Development Welfare Act. So the CFU made propaganda films. You understand what I mean by that? Propaganda films, you understand? Things that this is what we want people to believe. This is what we want people to believe. This is what we want people to see. This is what we desire that people should understand and know about. This is what one thing we want them to have the understanding of. So at that time, the CFU, they did the propaganda films. The unit acquired films and showed them to the people. All the films were to help to spread the British imperialism. So there were two main approaches to production at this time. At that time, the number one, the affirmation of the colonizer culture. Then two films were like the new firebomb. The British Army reflected the mighty power of the colonies, while the films such as Tarzan of the Apes show Africans as inferior, who needed to be led around by the colonists. And let me be sincere with you, that is why they don't want the history to be told. That's why many people run away from history, because when they begin to do this, they see, and that's why till now in our culture, not too much, but in our culture, when we see white people, we see them as more superior. And when you see African, you see them as more inferior. If somebody is coming to you as you are looking at me, as you are watching me, and he's from Nigeria or he's from one African nation, and he say he has done this, he has this company, he has that company, how many of you will believe? How many of you will not say, let me go and find out in his country whether it's true? But if you see one white man, one young guy, when Mark visited Nigeria, Zuckerberg of Facebook, when he visited Nigeria, come and see both old and young. Some. In fact, I watched one particular video. They are almost begging Mark to create something where they can monetize, how they can get money from Facebook too. Some of all these videos that I'm doing now, how they can monetize it, and they can get money out of it or get money from it and all that. They have been doing sponsored thing. They also, it's good. But if it's an African person, do you think that celebrity or that celebration can be as high as that? So from the time immemorial, it has been infused into the blood or into the culture that the white people are more superior to black, and I disagree with that with all sincerity. It has nothing to do with color. It's about the mindset. It has nothing to do with color, but about the mindset. It has nothing to do with color, but about what? The mindset. All right. Now, so when it came to that, a lot of this, I love this man because the reference point I want to mention, and that is Igneous Ekwasi. He condemned this approach because this approach, I also condemn it too. So he submitted that the ideology practice of the CFU films were the glorification of the colonizers. So it was meant to glorify those people who colonize us. So with the attainment of independence, the colonial film unit CFU became the federal film unit. So by the time we gain independence, thank God this time of independence when I'm sharing this, I'm so happy because the Lord arranged it, not me. I didn't arrange it. So the Lord arranged it, that is the period of independence that I'm talking about. This is what we are talking about. So that's why I may call all the edition in this month Independence Edition. Independence Edition, because this is our month of independence, and by the grace of God, it's also our month of marriage anniversary. We got married this month in that year, which I'm going to tell us a few days to that time. I'm going to tell you the date, unless you can search on internet, it's there already. So with this thing, the colonial film unit became the federal film unit, FFU, the federal film unit. But the federal film unit still retain most of the functions of colonial film units, because those are the people they have seen, those are the people they know, those are the people they hear from, which were the production of film about the country. Also, private individuals began to produce and exhibit future films. However, the searchlight has shifted from colonialism and the need for independence to be restricted to neo-colonialism. Black became beautiful. Can somebody say black is beautiful? Can you type to me and say black is beautiful? It's not about the color, it's about the content of the heart. Black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. I'm going to be one of the Nigerians who is going to be a voice in Christian filmmaking all over the world. I'm a filmmaker, but I specialize in Christian filmmaking. I specialize in faith-based film. I specialize in redemption. I specialize in prophetic drama that will turn the whole world upside down. So I believe so much. Can somebody say black is beautiful? Can I see you type down one? Black is beautiful. All right. Black is beautiful. So a thing to be explored and enjoy. We have a lot of culture, rich culture, and begin to have that one, the rich culture, begin to see a lot of things because the colonialists now and the colonists now begin to be seen as rapists. Now they're going to use rapists of the culture, the rich culture of Nigeria and indeed Africa. That is, they rape us, they rip off also of our culture, or our value of our identity. All right, they don't want us to know, and that's why everybody is trying to see what they can do to erase the history. There are a lot of historical events that happened that many were not were not documented. I watched one when I was younger. The Oyibo man will say something in English, and for the man to interpret it, the man will add his own and we say, let me put it in my own language, please just permit me. All of you, if you do this thing, you'll be killed. Wo ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi, ẹ má kọjá àyè yín o, ẹ má lọ bẹ̀ wọn, ó lóun ó pa yín ní tẹ́ bá lọ bẹ̀ o. You know, it looks interesting. People laugh and all that, but they know that the man, he said, what did you do? Have you told them? He said, yes. In fact, he said he has told them very well. Okay, sọ fún yín dáadáa, ẹ má lọ, ẹ má fọwọ́ kan tẹ́ bá ti fọwọ́ kan, yóò yìn yín bọ̀ ni o. You know, when he saw that, wow. When I watched such film, I laugh. Especially when they say interpret, when it was to interpret. So I mentioned they now begin to do something. So the novelists like Chinua Achebe, the late Chinua Achebe, they begin to write something. Then they begin to they match and use creative writing to do a lot of things to show the colonists that they have something. We have also Akinwumi Shola, a lot of them, where Mainframe, if you have seen Mainframe films, you see is highly politically influenced. It's highly politically influenced. What do I mean by that? What is happening in Nigeria is what is being written in a creative way to express the mind of the people. Now, so let me go. The primary function of the Federal Film Unit was the function of documentaries, which till today you can still see some of those things recorded. You can still see some of those things being kept. Some of those things recorded, some of those things being kept. So the primary function is to the production of them. So this documentary were funded by the government and sometimes international organizations like UNICEF. I must let you to know that foreign films distributors and exhibitors succeeded in turning attention from the documentary to themselves. So everything is to prove and to let people know that, oh, these people are better, these people are angels, these people are not demonic and all that. And somebody told me some time ago, he said, when you're saying the truth like this, some of the people may not allow you. He said, that's one reason why some of them will invite me. Because truth is for children of God. Children of God must never be afraid of saying the truth. And that's the truth. You must never for one time be afraid of saying the truth. Now, history reveals some things, and I don't use one source. When I'm doing my research, when I'm doing my findings, I don't do one source, I don't use one source. And that's why I signed a note of warning at the beginning that when you are doing your research, don't just do it for one side of the thing. Make sure that you do it from the perspective of the word. And also, I was alive, though I was young, and I happen to have a late father who liked to tell history, who liked to tell story. My father was a very good storyteller. He loved telling story. He loved creating story. He can create any story in a GV. In fact, that's one of the things I keep on remembering about my father. And that's awesome. That's really, really awesome. That's really, really awesome. So the foreign, themselves, their cinema houses were filled with brim. They were filled to the brim with eager viewers. And for a long time, they made a lot of profit, even on Nigeria, on Nigerians. So meanwhile, Nigeria became involved in the production of film, and by 1970, the first indigenous feature film, because many times people get confused. They say, okay, 1926, 1903, the film was shown, they call the name of the film, and later in 1926, people were confused again, another film was produced, and they now say 1970, another film was produced. Don't get yourself confused. The introduction to the cinema, bringing those foreign films, and now doing their films, the foreign people making, and the only thing is that the future in 1926 was when the first time feature the Africans, Nigerians in the film. They feature them, so you understand what I mean? Superiority complex and the inferiority complex. So to display, we are more superior. These people are slaves. and they are our slaves until we give them independence and all that. It's okay and all that. So now, and that told us 1954 mobile cinema vans was being played around and being shown. And by the time we get to 1970, Nigerian cellular cinema was introduced. And that's why I said the first indigenous feature film was produced in Nigeria, which is called Kongi Harvest. Kongi Harvest. Kongi Harvest was actually written, one of the plays written by Wole Soyinka. Wole Soyinka wrote Kongi Harvest. For record purposes, Wole Soyinka wrote that. So it was, however, directed by a foreigner, by an American. Because the celluloid, many of us are not used to celluloid. Not many people are trained on the celluloid. And you know, I will quickly say this: filmmakers like Francis Oladele, Olabalogun, Bamitale Bello, who have been trained abroad. They study abroad. Some of them went abroad to study, to really have a feel of what it means. They have a feel of what it means to actually have filmmaking. But this time, not many people can actually direct a celluloid. So it was directed by American, and it featured many foreigners as crew members. So so that's why till now you can now see that some people still prefer American to come and shoot a movie for them. They still believe that I was called to an event some years ago, very few years ago. I was invited, and they said, in Nigeria, can we actually have people who can really shoot this event? It was an event, and they said, who can shoot it? And one of the person in my church said, no, I have a brother in our church whose passion is towards excellence. He loved excellent thing, and I was invited. And when he watched the video after the whole thing, he said, wow, thank you. In fact, have you ever been invited to come and shoot something, or to come and cover event, and you are turned to Brother Paul, and the person begin to respect you, older than you, and begin to respect you? Several times, several places, and all of them will suddenly say Brother Paul. I will just be wondering, Brother Paul, wow, you know. But it's just the grace of God, and that work was well done, because they felt maybe they should bring somebody from South Africa to come and shoot the event for them. I said, what is the big deal about it? You get it now. You have the stuff as you are watching me. You have something inside of you that the whole world need to know about. Let nobody rubbish you that you cannot do it. So let's go back to the history. And so many of the crew were foreigners. Then around that time, oil was becoming booming. So more individuals are becoming involving in what? In productions. Indigenous film now, I mean. So people like Eddie Ugboma, Ladepo, Olabalogun, I mentioned. There is a man whose name is Galadima, but because he has initials, that's USA Galadima. So if you want to put his name, you say USA Galadima. My name is USA Galadima. Among others who have been trained during the CFU era. Many of them were sent abroad to be trained. So according to Rosemary Itam, the Yoruba Traveling Theatre, that's a quote also. The Yoruba Theatre were the one I mentioned. Go and watch the video I mentioned about the theatre practitioner. And I also did a video for the remarkable impacts of this theatre practitioner. So you can also watch them. So many of them, because the people saw how they were successful. They were very, very successful, extremely successful in the traveling troupe, as a traveling troupe rather. They travel wide the whole land, and they actually did a lot of things. Now, I told us that the Nigerian cellular cinema was introduced in the 70s to 80s. Now, I want to quickly say something, that when people see that the motivation by the audience, that they produce their own movie, all of them now begin to want to produce their own movie. But there is a challenge. If you want to produce a standard film at that time, it has to be celluloid. And not many people, and the celluloid is not processed in Nigeria. The editing cannot be done in Nigeria unless, I think in a particular time it was being taken to Jos. Because I was told by history, by word of mouth, that they begin to fight. Where do they need to put? Even that's why the Nigerian Film Institute is placed in Jos. They will begin to fight. Where should they put it? Where should they not put it? They should put it in the south. They should put it in the west. No, they should put it. And by the time they are arguing, they took it to Jos. And that's why at that time, Jos was a kind of a place where a lot of people Plateau State, I mean, okay, Plateau State, Jos, is one of the, it's a place that everybody has to travel down to make sure they do their film and all that. They have a film kind of village in that place also, and that's one of the things Hubert Ogun they saw, that he has to come to Sosa to do a film village, which the film village is still there till today. Now, let me quickly go to this. So many of them, because they have been motivated by the audience demand, they say, can't you shoot this thing into movie? So many of them begin to think of turning the stage plays into films. So they decided to produce their own film, working with other already popular Nigerian filmmakers they know, like Professor Ola Balogun and Ola Balogun and others. Now, the Alarin Theatre troupe made their films, which I'm going to mention. All of them at the beginning, they made their films on 35 mm cellular drill, 35 mm cellular drill, which I'm going to mention all those films very shortly. Now, apart from the fact that the viewing public were hooked to foreign films, and that's why many of us were grown with a lot of foreign films, and many today the youth still have that culture because it was passed down by our parents. So at a particular time, in the work, when the television started, they had to start reducing the foreign movies to the indigenous movies. They have to reduce the foreign movies to indigenous movies so that we can have our own content. Okay, let's go. Now, you get the history that I'm talking about now. Okay. Now, apart from the fact of viewing hook on this, they had problem in procurement of equipment. I just mentioned that. They have the problem of getting equipment, manpower, then piracy become a problem, ultimately marketing. So these four things till date, people still have this issue till date. They have the problem of procurement of equipment, manpower, piracy, ultimately what? Marketing. This killed the zeal of these newcomers to filmmaking. So many of them want to do film. Everybody wants to do all the Alarin theater, all the popular Nigerian theater. Oh, everybody wants to rush into filmmaking because their audience were like looking, this thing is so powerful. Why can't you record it? Thank God for BBC. They recorded some of the things you can see on YouTube as for record purposes. So at that time, this killed the zeal. In 1979, Nigerian Film Corporation, NFC, was established. So 1979, it was established. It was established. And when it was established, why is it being established? It was established to provide structural backbone for the development of the industry in terms of manpower training, marketing assistance, and infrastructure. Till now, this still has to be in place. Though technology is advancing, but we still have to go through these three things: manpower training, marketing assistance, and infrastructure. Now, a decree validating its existence were released by the government, and a facility was allocated to it in Jos. I told you, where is it going to be? It's going to be here. Don't worry yourself. And by the grace of God, after this class also, I will also post references to where I pick some of these sources from. All right. So, when it was taken to Jos, Plateau State, but it did not help the industry much. That thing did not help the industry much. So years later, a national film policy was also put into motion. A national film policy was also, so neither did this save the ailing industry from its problem. And by the mid-1980s, wow, mid-1980s, it was nearly impossible for film to be made on celluloid. It was difficult for this film to be on celluloid. Let me quickly mention some of the films that were made on celluloid at that time, or some of the films that were able to pass through our indigenous film. So, 1970-1971, Kongi Harvest was produced. Kongi Harvest was produced. When we have Bullfrog in the Sun, 1974. We have BC Daughter of the River, 1977. We also have Alpha, 1972. We have Amadi, 1975. We have Ajani Ogun, 1975. We have Music Man, 1976. We have BC Daughter of River, 1977. We also have Ija Ominira, 1978. Aye, 1979. We have Kadara, 1980. Aye, Kadara, Jaye Simi. Aye, Kadara, Jaye Simi. Kadara, Eda. Kadara o eda aye Jayesimi. You can see that Ube Atugun, they produced some of those films in 1979, 1980. Jayesimi was 1980. Then later we have what we call 1980. We have Efun Shetan Aniwura. Efun Shetan Aniwura. I've mentioned some of those things. Ishola Ogunshola produced Efun Shetan Aniwura. The Cry Freedom 1981. Ija Orogun. Ija Orogun. You know, many of them I've watched. No, let me go to that. Don't worry. But you know, Ija Orogun was very, very one song. Then Owo Lagba, 1982. When we begin to have 1982, and we begin to have a lot of things. So many people were not able to go into that thing, to go into the production. Aeroplane thing was also produced. etc. Many of them were produced on 35 mm cellular drill. So they were produced on 35 mm. So along the line, Hubert Ogunde he also moved on to 16 mm at that time, 16 mm. And that was awesome. That was a really a turning point to Hubert Ogunde. So now, because when you shoot on the cellular, the film stocks were expensive to import. They were expensive to import, and cellular is also expensive to process. So rushes had to be taken abroad. That's to be taken abroad for processing, for development, and other process coupled with it. It was a harsh economic scenario in the country. Thus, many filmmakers opted for the use of the videotapes, as it were more economical, easily accessible, and inexpensive to editing, unlike celluloid. But let me quickly tell you what happened, because a lot of people have said so many things about this, especially when the Nollywood came in. The word Nollywood was coined. I wouldn't know who coined it, but because of the big shots in industry like Hollywood, Bollywood, they also want to be relevant, and they call it Nollywood. I wouldn't know why the Nollywood came in, but the word Nollywood, because when they now begin to talk about history of Nollywood, I searched at that year, I got annoyed that even Mount Zion produced a film 1991. A film was produced by Mount Zion 1991. A film was produced by Kayode Oyebode, Ojuoluwa, before that time. You know, a lot of things. And even the main brain, we believe in this part of Nigeria, not for competition, not for argument, is Aromire Muhyiddin Aromire, Alade Muhyiddin Aromire. That was the first person who tried. That was 1984. But a lot of people put 1989 for him. That's not anything. He was produced 1984. He first produced the video 1984. So, you know, a lot of things I discovered. That's why I said a lot of writers have written things to suit their own purposes, and that's power of journalism anyway. I can be sponsored to do what I'm doing if I allow that, but thank God I'm a child of God. I cannot be, by the grace of God, I cannot be bribed to come and tell you what is not correct. And, you know, the first set of Nigerian filmmakers, though all these films I mentioned, they never hit its big bang. They never hit the big bang. But people saw them, and some of these films you can also Google them out on YouTube. So now, according to Akin, because I'm going to have a reference of it, Akin Adeshoko, the video film grew out to begin bottle gag of music video in cassette culture, cannibalizing the idioms of the soap opera, Yoruba traveling, remnant of the golden era of Nigerian cinema. They begin to add beats. Okay, let's do some things. By the end of 1980, video films had become the strongest technology medium of Nigerian popular culture and entertainment in Yoruba Urban Center, because forced to realize its immersion. That's it. That's the correct thing. The Yoruba people were the one leading in that area. So, but one of the things I said when I was talking about documentation is that when you don't document things, whosoever document first become first. That's just the problem. By the time our ministry did the first film, by the time we want to do a film in life, the first time we want to do on VHS, on Super VHS, this ministry produced their first very film on Super VHS. We are even senior some people because of people VHS, so it was VHS and all that. They did their own thing. But we are Super VHS, means a bit higher than the VHS, but it's still using tape. And the first film we produced 2-in-1 film. The first film, 1 script but 2 scripts in Yoruba and English, but it was not documented. Thank God for this opportunity. Now I'm trying to put it on That's the first of its kind in the whole of Nigeria. That is, a ministry is producing film first, the first film, and they are producing two films. That is Yoruba and English. So it's on VHS, and which we are trying to convert it back to DVD to also make it available on YouTube. We are not going to sell it. But if somebody wants to buy, no problem. But we want to make it available on YouTube so that you can also watch all those things. So, by the way, that's just by the way, rather. So, by the way, if you are watching me, I will still mention your name at the end of all these all the broadcasts. So, any question, any contribution, you can also put it down there and all that. So, one of the things in 1980s till date, we have a lot of things that have changed. So people now can own their video cameras. People say video camcorder. You know, sometimes people just camcorder. Camcorder means camera recorder. It means camera recorder. Now, let me go a bit. I'll come back to those things. Let me go a bit down. As I said, the first to realize the immense of this thing, and Nigerian Yoruba theater troupe, they really did a lot of wonderful works, owing to the fact that video cameras were very cheap and easy to carry and control, will be filmmakers. So everybody can carry it, everybody can do it. It's a plastic in recess. It was a plastic. And you know, the limitation of manner of vanishing theater tradition, gradually people want to go to film, they want to go from one place to one location to another, and everybody was back in business. So that thing really encouraged them. So the appearance of video film in Nigeria, plus its popularity, point to the importance of a new medium of dissemination and consumption of film as a form popular of culture, for the aesthetics, the beauty of it. So the idea of video production was inspired by Yoruba traveling theater. The idea was later introduced by Babatunde Adelusi. So as a publisher, now rested Photoplay magazine, who said that the production of video production will only save cost of production. It also saved the cost of production. So, but will be a good alternative in India and Chinese film. So they have to stop the India and Chinese film in a way, because early 80s, a lot of us watch. In fact, let me confess, when I was not born again at that time, but when we had, there is a church that is very not too close to us. So when we said to our dad, he said, especially on Fridays, when they had to show, I'm still looking for that film, Chita and Jita. It's like a twin sisters. It was a very powerful film, and many of us will say we are going to a video. So we will go to that video, but immediately they want to start the video. You know, they will start the video around that time 9, and the India film is around 10. So what we do is that before they start the video, we go and be watching the India film. So when they finish the India film by 10 or 11, by 12 or 1, they will now go and join them in the church back. So, but because we know if we were at home, we may not be privileged to go and watch the India film, or they have taken the light, but you know, we just have to watch something on every Friday at that time. So, like I was saying, the history also revealed that 1984, Aromire produced Ekun. But there is a controversy of 1989, 1984. But like I said, 1984 is the correct thing that I believe in, because Aromire lived between 1961 and 2008 when he introduced VCR to VHS and all that. So, and I will talk about that, like I said, front and back. I will be going. So we now have the people that came up later. We have people who later also Big Abbas Ade Ajiboye, who also produced Social Meji. And you know, the first Nigerian video film in 1998 was also an event that people said about, and it was shown publicly at Tinuade Cinema in Oronshoki. And for a token of fee, and it was it was very, very successful. Subsequently, Alade Aromire produced Ekun in 1989. But like I said, 1989, and they have this whatever between them, Big Abbas and Aromire, which screened at the National Theatre. Aromire's film was shown in National Theatre, and the success of this movie was the eye opener to other producers. So when they saw that this is possible, wow! Many Yoruba film actors and enthusiastic most in Meridian and based in Miran in Lagos. There is a place called Miran in Lagos. It's a suburb to see for assistant of promoter. So they have to look for the promoter, and they have to seek for the assistant of the promoter who was importing. Immediately he saw that people want to have this VHS. I think I have to look for my VHS and show it to you, so you know what the VHS tape is all about. And you know, if in case some people, the generation may not even know about it. So the VHS tape is bigger than my hand. It's actually bigger than my hand, or this, but it's a bit fatter than my hand. So you know, and you know, when I saw that, this is what happened between the big Abbas Ade Ajiboye, who produced Sonsomeji, and Aromire, who produced Ekun. So, but between 84 and 89, a lot of controversy of information, but nevertheless, just have the idea that it started within the Yoruba people. And how did they now get to this man that takes the glory of all the Nollywood thing that everybody has talked about, the living in bondage, everybody talk about all over the world. Everybody say, oh, this is the man that did this first Nollywood film. This is the man that showed the first Nollywood film. I want to tell you today. All right, that's why I told you that today is going to be a little bit longer. Now, so, you know, subsequently, Aromire produced Ekun when he was screened in National Theatre. Hence, I said many of them now suburbs sought assistance from the film promoters. Film promoters like Kenneth Nebule, Inebue, so that I would not pronounce it wrongly, Inebue, of the Neck Video Link in Lagos, of the Neck Video Link, and Suleiman Haweda, who were both important film distributors and exhibitors at that time. So Kenneth Inebue is now evangelist though. He's now evangelist. He's now called evangelist. He's now evangelist. So he's now evangelist. He's also producing films and all that. It's Kenneth. Kenneth actually. He's now evangelist. Kenneth. So you know, Kenneth. So Kenneth was that. So as I was saying, so Kenneth capitalizing on the gain of the industry. So he decided to invest in a lot of low budget video films. So such as film like Ajeni Yami. You remember Ajeni Yami? If many of you know Ajeni Yami, Ishola Ogunshola, Ija Eleye, Osha Eleye, Ija Eleye, Osha Eleye, and like that. So the guy was just pumping money until 1992. He has to produce Living in Bondage by himself. And one of the things is that Living in Bondage was registered, was censored also, and that became the first censored film. And that's why many people refer to that film as the first Nollywood film. A lot of controversy on this issue. A lot of people fight themselves, a lot of things, but I have nobody to fight about. You are free in your opinion. You understand? You are free in your own opinion, but we are talking about history, what has taken place. Not because I'm a Yoruba person. No, I'm not taking side. To be sincere with you, I'm a child of God. I don't need to take side about that. I need to be true to you. But I'm talking about history that make people to understand where they are coming from. So this man was a marketer, was a promoter. So he used his money to invest in the money. He brought tapes, VHS tapes, cameras. Okay, this one we want to do. Okay, let us go and bring it. Let's go and ship it. Till date, that's why I respect the Igbo guys. Anything called business, real business, they are into it. And they are out to do the best, to get the best, to bear the nation best. One of the fueling fire of Nigerian business are the Igbo people. I must celebrate them. That's the truth. So the development did not go down well with the new school of video filmmakers. So when they saw it, who termed his investment as peanuts, the time is very, they left and organized themselves. People like when those things started, people like Jide Kosoko, you cannot but mention this man because he has also contributed immensely to the industry. Jide Kosoko, Adebayo Salami Ogabelu, Benga Dewusi. Many of us will remember Benga Dewusi now. We also remember Alade Aromire. Let them. So this regrouping results in the appearance of different production companies, including Biowa Films. You remember Biowa Films and Benga Dewusi, Biowa Films International, Aromire Films, Jide Kosoko's film, and many others. So at that time, all of them liberated themselves from NEC. They liberated themselves from Aweda. So they have to say, okay, these people, they will just collect their money, they give them everything, and they will be the one to, and they just give them the peanuts. And that caused an uproar, and that caused a lot of fights. They say, no, we cannot take that. And that's why I still appreciate Jide Kosoko till date. If you see a man who has already fought for this industry, he's one of the men that have fought. And I also appreciate the Olu Jacobs, Joke Silva. Those people also contributed in mass. Many of them also study abroad in England, London precisely, and they study and acting and all that. That's why I'm still coming to some of those people. All right, and to be sincere with you, you need to be vast in your field. Unfortunately for me, I don't know much of those names of the recent people. I don't know most of their names offhand unless I see it over and over. Why? Because many of them are just show little time and disappear little time. So maybe that's why I'm not always interested in people that show little time and disappear little time. So, but quite a number of people, as we are going on, I will also share them that have been part of what is being done. All right, excuse me. So now, we now saw a lot of things happen here that all of them have to start their own thing. So film began to be produced in large volumes. Film began to be produced in large volumes. And with film marketers and distributors setting up offices, everybody now set up their offices. You cannot just be doing the monopoly of everything. You don't want to. You now be giving us 10 naira. Is 10 naira our what? At least we are the one laboring this work. Until now, it's sometimes still like that. Sometimes still like that because the structure is not still yet strong, but it's getting better. So when they did this, and the man is also the neck video production or video link also, his eyes is open. His eye was open, and he said, well, okay, if that's what we want to do. So everybody was setting up offices and distribution outlets in Dumata. Everybody now have their shops in the Dumata. It was recent now that a lot of people have moved to Shodi. That the Dumata is maybe one of the powerful markets that the Lord has given to filmmakers is New Dimension. New Dimension is, I think, the New Dimension is the only one that is still remaining in Dumata till date, but most of them are moved to Oshodi. Now, so in that time, so the industry took off. Immediately after that time, the industry took off. But the industry did not take off fully as cellular filmmakers. No, it took off as a video filmmakers. So video film in Igbo language was silent until the later part of 1992, when Kenneth Inebwe produced the first Igbo film video in the country called Living in Bondage. Wow. You say wow yourself. Yes. Wow. That was exactly what happened, how the Living in Bondage became a major hit among the Igbo audience, and also was well accepted by non-Igbo speaking audience, because this time around is done in English. It's not just Yoruba, only the ones I've been mentioning during the colonial and before the colonial era. You discover that we have only very few English. We have Kongi Harvest, we have a Bullfrog in the Sun, we have BC Daughter of River, we have Cry Freedom, we have Alpha, we have Music Man. After that, the rest were Yorubas. We have Cry for Freedom, the rest were Yoruba. So when they have this one, wow, that was what became a major hit among the Igbo audience. So other Igbo film, video films were followed. Igbo films were produced in their Igbo or English languages. So that's why we have Igbo, which we Yoruba call Igbo films. Igbo, is the language they speak that is Igbo. The tribe is Igbo. So, yes. So the Igbo films were produced in Igbo language, and the films like Taboo 1 and 2. Taboo 1 and 2. Taboo 1 and 2. All right. So they now later did Violated. They did Violated. After Taboo 1 and 2, Taboo 1 and 2 were done by Dan Oluigbo of Sage Production. Sargate Production. Then we have Jezebel. Jezebel was done by Francis Agu. Amaka Igwe's Isaac, Rattlesnake 1 and 2, Violated 1 and 2, and many others were produced. So by 1992, a lot of things happened. By 1992, a new crop of professional filmmakers have emerged. We have emerged from the eastern and other part of the country, virtually unknown on stage before their debut onto Nigerian film industry. Most of them are produced or acted in series for televisions, notable by Zeb Ejiro, Kenneth Okonkwo, and Amaka Igwe Isaac, who's a late woman. She's dead now. So with the massive entry of Igbo and English video films, the producer of Yoruba video films, who had hitherto monopolized the business, faced a thorough competition as a result of vibrant industry were created. So one of the mistakes that the Yoruba people made at that time, is that when the time they were reigning, the time they were ruling, they would have gone around the whole country to unite the whole country by bringing other people into it. So from the marketer point of view, Kenneth broke the ring and everybody, the eyes were open, so it became decentralized. So it's no longer Yoruba as usual, it become Igbo film and Yoruba film. And in fact, Kannywood has been old for a longer time. What do you know about Kannywood? That's a film being produced in the north. I'm going to be coming up specifically on that. Maybe after this one, I'm going to do another one so that I can come up with Kannywood. And we just talk briefly about the Kannywood if I can after this broadcast. And I think I will have to do that for the north so that I can be balanced with this school. So if you are part of the student online, I want to appreciate you. And please, if you have been following us, I want to use this avenue to tell you that we have two things in mind for you. You will inbox me your name that you have been watching. So inbox me your full name, your first name and the last name is okay. Inbox me your name and I will know you have been following. So we are compiling the list of all the people that have been following us, who have been watching us. We are compiling the list for this drama school online, the special drama school online. So I said that again, inbox me your name and the country you are from. You bracket your country you are from. Then two, we're having a short film. We're going to have a short film which I'm going to announce to us when the time comes. We're having a short film for as many of us who want to participate, as many of us who are children of God, who want to. The criteria is you must be a child of God. Number two, you must just go and watch the life of a drama minister. You understand whether you are qualified or not. Go and watch that video, the life of drama ministers. And the life of drama ministers, you know whether you qualify or not. So I'm going to do that something on Kannywood. So the Igbo people came, and these people created a lot of things and that caused the problem. And that is why when you start today, you will see Living Bondage as the first film. And a lot of Yoruba people got annoyed, they got angry about it, they got for why these people do this something and all that. You know, in those days things fall apart. Many of them did something for things fall apart. And what is Peter what is it? Fine, I forgot now, but don't worry, if I remember, I will let us know. So, you know, along the line they have this competition was so much. Igbo film ti jade o. Those people are producing their own in fact majorly in English at that time, majorly in English, and many of them are preaching. Some of them are in their local dialects, very few in their local dialects and all that. So now, moreover, there are also been a production of Nigerian video film in minor languages like Efik, Ijaw, Isekiri and all that they were produced. So Nigerians abroad are also producing films for Nigerians in the diaspora, such as King of My Country, London Boy. So video films are also produced in Hausa language, the center of which is Kano. Kano was where the Kannywood started. And I'm privileged to be in Kano. It would have been painful if I'm doing this because I've not been to Kano. Kano is a blessed place. We were in Kano in July, doing the free training program for them in July. We did the free training for them and come and see awesome results. We have about 7 different stage drama, powerful stage drama, and we also produce Krista, which I'm going to share the link with us today. Krista, so that you can watch that we produce. We shot it with phone. We edited it on phone. Smartphone. Don't worry, when you see it, I've told you already, so you know how to judge it, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Now, that one I'm going to post is for now. I'm going to post a new one later on the YouTube. You look for our channel. Please go and subscribe to our channel. I'm going to be also dropping that one. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and all that by the grace of God. The Send Me is the link. Now, today, video production is a multi-billionaire naira industry which provides source of livelihood for many, both at home and abroad. So, and the industry has also produced many stars. Star in quote, you know. I've told you how the advent of stars started when I was talking about introduction to filmmaking, even in America. There was a time they were like looking for stars and all that. The studio edition, when they have a studio, you remember. So many of them, we now have the stars as well as international event. They call them initially when the video film came into existence. Some actors were not well remunerated. But currently, oh God, the appearance of some actors. Yes, I remember now. Peter Edochie. Peter Edochie. That's the man. Things Fall Apart. He played the role of Okonkwo in that Things Fall Apart. So we have a lot of them. We have Liz Benson. We have a lot of people. Buki Wright, Buki Ajayi. There are so many. Some Noah, Desmond Elliott, Genevieve Inaji, Kayode Fashlanso, Patient Walker, Fetia, but there are so many. There's so many. And some of them who came later. That many of them came later because that's why I'm just being careful of mentioning some names, and I'm not mentioning some names. African Movies Academy Award started since 2004 to award people. That's our own thing that came. Remember, I'm talking about historical events in filmmaking in Nigeria. So you may be wondering, oh, Brother Paul, why don't you talk about the Christian aspect of it? Sorry, we're going to talk about Farouk, who started the Gospel Fest. Gospel Film Festival. We're going to talk about it. So that's I want to do the broadcast of the Kannywood almost after this time out. I'm going to do that one so that tomorrow it's going to be influence and the influence of filmmaking, Christian filmmaking started and all that. So don't forget, I recommended a book for you that you need to get the drama. Get this book, Drama God's End Time Army by Mike Bamiloye. You need to get this book. If you don't have it, you need to get it. It's on the market by Evangelist Mike Bamiloye. Drama God's End Time Army. Drama God's End Time Army. And God's End Time Weapon, rather, by Evangelist Mike Bamiloye. You need to get this book. It's very important. Now, as I was talking about, so the African Movie Academy Award started in 2004 as Kenneth Ekweme pointed out to his essay that is the negative influence of Nigerian video on the youth, and positive are endless. And you know, one of the things, possibilities are endless because a lot of things happen. A lot of people begin to behave like Americans, and they introduce a lot of things that were not at the very beginning. That in the first Nigerian filmmakers such as Ola Balogun, Hubert Ogunde in the 1960s, they were not introduced. Though at that time, to produce on celluloid, many of them enjoyed celluloid. It was so frustrating because of high cost of production for them, but many of them, when the TV started, the TV really helped them. It began in 1959, and it received much support from the government. Many of them received much support. Then in the mid-80s, every state has its own broadcasting nation, and that's a good news. And even now that NTA now started, NTA, Lorry, NTA, they would have started those things. But because NTA started the Nigerian television in Ibadan, TSOS started. It's not TSOS was not the first name, but TSOS. That's when I grew up. So TSOS, after TSOS, we have BCOS now. They now make it to BCOS. Now every station, Ogun State, OGTV, they begin to have their own television station. So Nigerian Film Thoughts was the video production of video films or video movie industry. As Nigeria called them home videos. They call it home videos at that time, because VHS was on home videos. In fact, you will see it is for home video use to watch your film at home. Simple, not to come to cinema to watch it. That's the meaning of home video. So, and then a lot of things happen. Like I must mention, people like let me now break it a bit to some of the actors. Since I'm there now, some of the actors who have done a lot of things, and at that time, the word Nollywood came, and traditionally it was produced on analog video, such as VHS, Super VHS, Betacam SP, but today you can't find all those ones. At a particular time, the tape is like half of my hand, like this, half of my hand. That's the tape, and you know, there's a lot of things really metamorphose to have what Nigeria, then begin to have our own director, Nigerian director, begin to adapt new technologies. As soon as they become affordable, they get it. Bulky videotapes, cameras, giveaway, digital things were coming up, and then before the advent of what we have now. But before that time, a lot of things happen, which I'm going to be talking about. So, which is going to be of help to us. I think, which is going to be of help to us. Now, I mentioned so much about the work of Yuba Tugunde, and also I must not confess, I must not forget, no, sorry, I must not forget the work of the Moses Olaiya Adejumo. Moses Olaiya Adejumo. A lot of people know him as Moses Olaiya or Baba Salah. Moses Olaiya Adejumo did a very wonderful, tremendous work. He did a very tremendous work at that time. And you know, like the first film that entirely copyrighted to Nigerian Film Unit in Nigeria was Finco. Finco was the one, in 1957, Finco was the one film that copyrighted to Nigeria after the Palava. You know, Palava was done by them, Geoffrey Bacchus, which I told us that one in 1954, we have people who have done this. So then a lot of films at that time were from the short plays or books. So, and when they say Nollywood, Nollywood was coined to follow the big shot. I have told us that so that we can have from production to distribution, and the way we do our things, which is different from the way they do their things. So, now, after Nigerian independence in 1960, the cinema business rapidly expanded with new cinema houses being established. So, as a result, Nigerian content in theater increased in the late 1960s and into the 1970s, especially production from Western Nigeria, which have told us, and many of the theater practitioners, they really work and work and work. And the first person to introduce the kind of comedy, a comic person who did very greatly on television production, was he's also doing something on celluloid, which is Moses Olaiya or Rumoru, and some of those things, and the tape was mistakenly written or something like that, I don't know. Then in 1972, that's why I celebrate this, our president. He's still alive as at this time of broadcast. He's still alive as at this time of broadcast, which is Yakubu Gowon. Yakubu Gowon is a president. Was the president, but is a very good one-time Nigerian president that can never be forgotten. More or less as a Christian, he did Nigeria praise around. I celebrate that man. He's a man of God. He's a president. He's a man with dignity. He's the man with so good things. So he made a decree that this indigenous film must be shown, that demands the transfer of ownership of the total 300. And that's to say, okay, at that time, okay, it was issued by that, which demands the transfer of ownership for about total of 300 film theaters from their foreign owners to Nigerians. Now, maybe if you see Odeon Cinema, Penn Cinema, and all those cinemas you have seen around, they have been existing for years. Do you get it now? So, they were given to Nigerians, which resulted in more Nigerians playing active role in the cinema and film. So the oil was booming in 1973 through 1978. So a lot of people didn't go to agriculture, which is what I explained in one of our programs. Agriculture was a real thing that we supposed not to have left. But well, at that time, people left it and all that, not too much, but the oil was becoming the toil of the town and all that. So a lot of people spend a lot of income on cinema. They come with the tickets, they will give them tickets, they will enter, they will watch, and along the line, after several moderate performing films, Papa Jasko came up. Wale Adenuga is not just somebody who's just involved in the film today. He has been involved in the film from a very, very long time. Wale Adenuga, since 1984, Papa Jasko came. At the part when I was so small, there is this photoplay magazine, Ikebe Super, that we used to watch the photoplay magazine at that time. So it became the first blockbuster grossing a lot of money. And Mushibolaton came a year after. Mushibolaton came, Moses Olaiya Adejumo, who went ahead to also produce in a price and all that. So after this decline of golden era in Nigeria, Nigerian film experienced a second major boom in 1990s, which I've just finished mentioning. when I told you that they released direct-to-video films, and told us that Living Bondage was the one that picked the mind, because the man who was a marketer put a lot of publicity. He did a lot of publicity since the Yoruba people have left him, since the Yoruba people have said, no, you cannot do this by yourself. And okay, if you are doing it, this is what I'm going to do. Like I told us, today is going to be longer because I'm talking about history. And after that, I'm going to come up with the Kannywood, and I'll finish it with the Kannywood. In the next 15 minutes, I should stop this broadcast. This is one of the longest that I have done because they talk about history. Now, so the industry came up and the man did a lot of publicity to make sure that the Living Bondage, it's everywhere. That Living Bondage is everywhere. Like I told us, I talk about the colonial era, I talk about golden age, and I talk about the home video booming, and now we have New Nigerian Cinema. New Nigerian Cinema, which is now, we still keep on, people now come back to new cinema and all that. So I think let me quickly run this, then I'll do the Kannywood and I'll finish it with the ones that I have. So the history will not be completed if we don't talk about the influence of a lot of work. Because have you seen it when this woman Funmilayo Kuti traveled to England with some of the others, Alake of Abeokuta, Igbaland, and the first film, the third, 1904. That's when it came back, 1904. It was done, started in 1903, started showing it, but it brought the influence of European films, and the first film it on this early period came on the 3rd August 1909, when the documentary of visit of Alake of Abeokuta to England was being done. So when it was being screened in 1904, the documentary was being shown. I told you they did a lot of documentary, which I don't want to go into many of it. And at that time too, Bauchi and Plateau State in northern region of Nigeria were also being blessed of a lot of things. So let me stop it now. Then I will do the Kannywood. Then from the Kannywood, then I will also from the Kannywood. Then I will also finish this story. But the bottom line about the story of the impact of it, by the time it came to this time, the golden age of Nigerian theater, the cinema, a lot of things which were very, very good were being done. And when our Living Bondage thing came, video cameras become surplus. A lot of people have the video cameras. A lot of people have a lot of things. Alaba market becomes a hit. If we got the place where everybody is showing the film, everybody has to go there. Till now, Alaba is still real, because a lot of things were done in Alaba, because a lot of things. So distribution, piracy, and all the things. And somebody was asking me some time ago, what do you do to this piracy? I said, well, we can fight it. But the point is, for me, if I know piracy is not going to be something that everybody has been fighting all over the world, then let me see a pirate who can pirate our film. Let me give him and let him pirate the film and let the film spread, and let me have whatever. We can even go to relationships. Say, don't worry, you want to pirate, don't pirate, so that people know that you are licensed. Let me give you license. So we have into agreement. We go into agreement, then I can. But how many pirates will come out as I'm a pirate? That's the first place. So now a lot of things till now, which is the advantages of what we have. We have the Kunle Afolayan who is doing a good work now. We have our own father in the Lord, Mike Bamitale, Kolade Segun Okewo. We have a lot of them. We have Paul-Esupofo. We have Shola Agbola, Mike Agbola. I want to mention some of those people who have done the great things, who have done a great work and all that. So many of them have done a great works. Many of them have done the great works in Nigeria, in Africa, and the world at large. So I will stop this now. Then I will do the broadcast with the Kannywood, and I'll also finish it on that. That will be the part 2 of the part 1. Part 2. That will be part 2. So thank you very much. You can join me. Don't go away. We connect soon.